Okay, so I realize I'm like way late to the party on this one, but like I saw how much this movie was meaning to people and like I saw all the buzz it was getting and I was just like, I didn't want to just come in like everyone else and be like, ha, new thing bad. I'm smart because I'm contrarian. But now that the hype has died down a bit, I am here to do exactly that. Well, okay, not necessarily, but as I've done many times in the past, I wanted to not just look at the new Disney remake itself, but compare it to the original and see what's really going on here. Like, I can't believe no one's ever thought of doing this. I am literally the first person to make this video. Wow, amazing. This movie, along with Peter Pan, was really one of those spring awakening canon events in my earlier life, you know, because like my 8-year-old brain figured out real quick that I definitely had a thing for attractive girls. I'm so quirky. But anyway, as I do around these parts, I'm here to just take a look at the new Little Mermaid remake and answer the question, is it good, actually? Slight spoilers here, but the answer is, Also, I'm very aware that I'm probably like the 10,000th person to make a video about this movie, so I'm probably not going to say anything completely original, but hey, whatever, here we go. So of course, one of the biggest and most obvious changes from the original is that Ariel is live action now. And she's great when it's her, because Halle Bailey is really only like half to maybe 2/3 of this movie, you know, because the rest of it is that signature wonderful Disney CG that just looks like fine. I've always thought it was so weird how Disney is obsessed with making live action remakes, but then like 80% of the movie is CG anyway. You could have just made the whole thing CG, like Frozen or something, you know? There's just something so lifeless about how it is now.
What? Your father wants you to stay as far away from them as possible.
But why?
You know why.
We don't have to be afraid of them. I know that now. Sebastian, if you had just seen it up there. The ship rode on the wind, and they filled the sky with fire.
Okay, listen to me.
But this isn't even the worst part. Like, just why? Why would you do this? What even is this? They did this back with The Lion King and no one liked it, so obviously that's just what they're gonna do forever now. Which is sad really, because like they lost so much in turning this into this. Like just look at the incredible animation of Sebastian here.
You're absolutely right, Sebastian.
Of course.
Ariel needs constant supervision.
Constant.
Someone to watch over her, to keep her out of trouble.
All the time.
And you are just the crab to do it.
And then the remake is just so sad.
Yes. Yes, Your Majesty. Peculiar, sir?
Distracted, daydreaming, disappearing for hours.
Oh, well,
Like he's literally just a crab. And like not even from a creativity or animation point of view, but like just from a business point of view, wouldn't it make more sense to make characters that are marketable, you know? Like kids love Olaf or Minions or any kind of cute, distinctive, funny character. What kid's gonna ask their parents for this? Hey mom, can I have a toy crab that just looks like a crab? I guess? You sure you don't want something more fun? You're right, Mom. I changed my mind. Instead, can I have the fish with no emotions, please? Now, talking about Scuttle for a second here, this opens up a whole other topic that's been on my mind, which is, can we bring back real voice actors, please? I'm sure Awkwafina is a lovely human being. Maybe. Actually, I have no idea, to be fair. And like, the Mario movie turned out fine, I guess. But it's just kind of sad that all the major voice acting roles are always taken by people whose names they can just use for marketing instead of people whose entire craft is voice acting. When you compare her Scuttle to the original Scuttle, it's not even close.
Humans use these babies to style their hair. Yankee might get some pieces with it. And you're left with an artistically pleasing conflagration of hair that humans go nuts for.
How you doing, kid? Whoa, what a swim. Humans use these little babies to straighten their hair out. Twirl here and I yank down, boy, oh, like. Yeah, I got an aesthetically pleasing configuration of hair that humans go nuts over.
The original Scuttle just had the most perfectly timed comedic delivery. It's so full of character. And the remake Scuttle, she just sounds like she's reading the lines for the first time and just kind of trying to be sassy, I guess. I don't know what's going on over at Disney, but someone has a thing for sassy sequels. Okay, there's this movie, there's the Pinocchio remake that had one. Like who keeps bringing this to the table? So getting back to the movie itself, it sticks pretty close to the original story. Like there aren't really any major changes to anything. It's just in like the small details, really. So Ariel, of course, is this headstrong, very curious teenage girl who's so interested in the world outside her father's kingdom. But King Triton doesn't want her to go anywhere because he doesn't trust humans. And here's where we get one of those rumored remake changes.
There was a shipwreck. A man was drowning. I had to save him.
You should have let him drown. They're savages.
You don't know that.
They killed your mother.
In the original movie, Triton didn't like humans because they hunted fish, and this seems like a perfectly fine motivation to me. But then in the remake, like we saw with Beauty and the Beast, for example, of course they have to throw in the dead mom trope, because how else could we possibly know that she's a Disney princess? Now, in the original movie, Triton gets mad at Ariel for missing this big concert where he was gonna like introduce her to everyone and brag about how well she can sing.
Your Majesty, this will be the finest concert I have ever conducted. Your daughters, they will be spectacular.
Yes, and especially my little Ariel.
Yes. Yes.
Oh yeah, also, in the original movie, he makes it so clear that Ariel is absolutely his favorite child. No question. But in the remake, he gets mad because she misses, like, this Jedi Council meeting, like, whatever this is. And she misses both of these because she's too busy talking to Scuttle. Now, originally, she goes up to the surface to talk to him, which Triton gets mad at.
But then the seagull came, and it was this is this, and that is that, and...
Seagull? What? Oh, you went up to the surface again, didn't you? Didn't you?
Nothing happened.
Oh, Ariel, how many times must we go through this?
But in the remake, they just kind of forget that birds can't breathe underwater, and Scuttle just like hangs out for 10 minutes somehow. And then, of course, Ariel ends up following a ship she sees because she wants to know more about these strange human people. And here's where we get kind of another big change, sort of, in a way, which is that in the original movie, like, it's very obvious that she falls in love with Eric when she sees him, like, right away. Her whole motivation for almost everything she does in this movie is because she is very hot and bothered for Captain Adam's apple over here. But in the remake, she sees Eric and rescues him, like, the same as in the old movie, but really it's just more about, like, this being her chance to finally meet a human and see what the world is like. You know, instead of falling in love with him instantly, she falls in love with him, like, 14 hours later. Much more realistic. And this brings me to another side point here, just for a second. I'm sure there are many reasons why Disney is so set on doing all these remakes. You know, they always perform very well financially, which is the biggest reason, I'm sure. But also, as we've seen several times now, they sort of use them to, like, erase some of the currently less acceptable thematic elements from their movies. Like in Dumbo, when they removed the racist crows, or Peter Pan, when they barely show any of these Native Americans. What controversy? We're kind of seeing the same thing here with, like, the upcoming Snow White remake.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937. And we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
I guess I really didn't expect Disney's whole creative direction to be based solely on the girl from the Emoji Movie. I think it's kind of weird how, like, instead of taking the simple girl falls in love with dude trope and, like, try to make a nuanced approach to this very common human emotion, they just kind of act like no real girl would ever just have a crush on a handsome prince. That's just ridiculous. I mean, come on, look at the way this dude's just sitting there on that boat, okay? What are you gonna do, not fall in love with him? So of course after this, her dad finds out and he's all harumph and destroys her entire Game Boy Advance collection, and she gets mad and goes to see Ursula the Sea Witch.
Ha! Celebration indeed. Oh, bah! And now look at me. Wasted away to practically nothing. Banished and exiled and practically starving.
Yes, clearly. And like, Ursula in this movie is fine, I guess. Although they made her Triton's sister for literally no reason. And again, if you compare her to the original cartoon version, it is not even close.
Perhaps I'll join them. Oh, wait. It seems that Big Brother forgot to invite Auntie Ursula to the party. Again. Oh, I should be the one throwing the parties and not waiting on an invitation.
Like I said for Scuttle, it just kind of seems like she got her lines right before they filmed. Like, it almost sounds like she's reading off a cue card or something. But more to the point, Ursula in this movie illustrates a complaint I always have about anything related to turning a cartoon into a live-action movie, which is that when something is live action, even if it has tons of CG or whatever, like, you are immediately constricted in what you can do and how you can do it. What I mean is, like, for example, cartoon Ursula in this scene, okay?
One might question your upbringing. My dear, sweet child, that's what I do. But if he doesn't, you turn back into a mermaid, and you belong to me.
You know, slight tangent here, but when I was a kid, I had a real big crush on Ariel. But now that I'm much older and slightly more mature, I gotta say, Ursula's kind of got a whole lot of something going on here, you know? But okay, so obviously, if Megan McCarthy were to emote and gesticulate this much in real life, it would be like unwatchably cringy, right? And so because everyone in this movie has to tone it down and not act like that, it just removes so much of the character, the sort of atmosphere, the dynamic range of the characters themselves. In a cartoon, you can be over the top. You can have faces like this. You can telegraph emotions in a way that would never work in live action. And I feel like this is one of the main reasons why all of these live action remakes just kind of feel so dull. But anyway, so Ariel makes her pact with Ursula that she can turn into a human, but at the cost of her voice. Although in this version, there's no contract she signs. She just like pulls out a scale and puts it in the cauldron, which I guess has the same effect. But like having her sign a contract really hits home the point about this being her choice, because the way they do it in the remake, it just kind of happens so fast that it really downplays the whole scene where Ariel like actively chooses to sign the contract. I assume they did this because chuckleheads like me are like, well, if she could write her name, why didn't she just write stuff down for Eric when she turns into a human? But then the remake has to take it one step further and do this.
And just in case I slipped a little something extra into that spell of mine, no matter how hard that girl tries, she won't remember she needs to get that kiss.
That's right, she loses her voice, and also Ariel forgets that the curse will be broken with a kiss. And I feel like this is so unnecessary. Like, it adds nothing to the tension or the flow of the story whatsoever. I have to assume that they did this because otherwise it might seem like Ariel's just using the full power of whatever the heck these bangs are supposed to be. But like in the original movie, she's already in love with him, and he starts being all about her like real fast. So it's like, aha, you must make him fall in love with you and kiss you to break the spell. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the plan anyway. But as I said earlier, they changed it so she doesn't really feel any particular way about him initially. So I'm guessing they thought that maybe having her try to kiss him would be like creepy or something. But like they both start kind of sort of falling for each other like literally the next day anyway. So like, what is the point of any of this?
Ariel. Written in the stars.
Now, the rest of the movie is largely the same. They've added a few new songs here and there that are mostly forgettable. I did like the song that Eric sings, though. Like, it kind of sounded like some of the songs from, like, Hercules or something. But then, of course, there's the Lin-Manuel Miranda Scuttle rap.
Well, I was flying over land and sea and ear to the ground. Then I came flying here for you to see and hear what I found. Remember that swamp? Remember my song in the swamp? And I was like, whap, chicka, whap, whap, chicka, whap.
I remember.
Like, this dude had one good idea, and it was a great one. And he's just been chasing that dragon for like 10 years now. During this part of the movie, we also learned that Eric is adopted by the king and queen, which I also felt was completely unnecessary and added literally nothing to the story. Like, I guess it's supposed to maybe be there so that Eric and Ariel can connect over their shared feeling of not belonging, and they're meant to be somewhere else doing something else or whatever. But like the original Eric just being a prince who feels like that anyway, that was perfectly fine. Why did you change this? There's also something about the second half of this movie I found very strange. So Ariel's whole thing is that she's an amazing singer, the best singer in the kingdom, and this is really hammered home in the original version.
Yes, and especially my little Ariel.
Yes, yes. She has the most beautiful voice.
And it's still front and center in the remake as well, which is why her selling her voice for some human legs is supposed to be like a big deal, right? But then like she can still sing anyway, and like I know it's in her head and she's kind of metaphorically singing to us, the audience, but it kind of felt to me like it was very thematically incongruent. Like Ariel already has virtually no character arc or growth whatsoever. She's this cute, curious teenager who wants to see the world, and she's just like this the whole time. Barely any internal struggle whatsoever. I think it could have been an interesting bit of character development if like the music swelled and she tried to sing and then like fully realized like, oh shoot, I can't sing anymore. The one thing I'm known for and I just can't do it now. This could have been like some kind of like Flowers for Algernon moment or something where like, you know, like a highly intelligent person develops Alzheimer's or a sports athlete loses a leg or something like that. You know, like I'm an amazing singer who can't sing now, so what does that mean for me as a person? But now for the purpose of this movie, she can sing just fine. Don't worry about it, it's fine. So like I said, the movie pretty much is the same more or less for the rest of the runtime, although I thought this part was kind of hilarious. And then after this, she's about to kiss Eric, but it's too late.
Oh, good Lord.
I just love everyone's reactions here. Like, she smashes the necklace and like absorbs Vanessa's soul, and they're all like, huh, isn't that something? And then she turns into a mermaid, and it's like, okay, now it's getting weird. There is this somewhat big change in that Ursula takes Ariel for herself, and then suddenly it looks like a PS2 game for some reason. And then she kills Triton right in front of Ariel, and then after Ariel and Eric defeat Ursula, the Triton like falls down to the ocean and like revives King Triton, and I just thought this part was like weirdly funny.
You gave your life for me.
And you fought to get my life back.
Like, this all happened literally by accident, and Triton's like, wow, you fought so hard to save me and bring me back. And then Ariel's like, yeah, sure, yep, that was the plan the whole time, yep, yes, sir. Ooh. And then, of course, just like in the original, Triton turns her back into a human, which is something he could just do, apparently. She and Eric get married, and everyone's having a great time, especially this dude on the rock who's just flexing so hard this whole scene. Yep, this is definitely how I sit all the time. Yep, not even holding my breath or anything right now. Totally normal sitting position right here. Yep. Now, obviously, I am very biased here, but as someone who loves 2D animation, this movie's just kinda you know what I mean? All the characters are reduced to literally emotionless husks. The new songs don't really add anything, the new story beats are largely pointless. Ariel and Eric do a great job when they're on screen, but most of the movie is like the uncanny Disney CG that we all just love so gosh darn much. But as with literally every one of these remakes, all the best CG in the world cannot replace the magical whimsy that the 2D animated movie had. When The Little Mermaid came out, it saved Disney. Like, they were drowning back in the 70s and 80s. You know, Black Cauldron almost sunk the entire company, and they just had to do something new, something fresh, different. And so they made this movie, which kicked off the Disney Renaissance and gave us some of the best movies that copied directly from Japanese ones. And now Disney is once again going through financial troubles. Like, how is that even possible? But whatever. And their game plan now is just do more of the same forever and hope for some kind of miracle, I guess. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please watch another one, because that's how the algorithm works. So click on this one that's being recommended to you right now, right here on the screen. It actually helps a lot if you do that, because like that's how YouTube knows that my videos are worth caring about. Also, if you have any movies or TV shows you'd like to recommend, send me an email at alexmeyerscontact@gmail.com, and I'll put them on my absurdly long list of movies that I need to get to at some point. Anyway, hope I made your day a little bit better, and I'll see you all next time.